All right, let's get right into it. Today we're talking about technical SEO. Now, I know it sounds kind of dry, but it's the absolutely crucial, often totally invisible, groundwork that decides if your website gets seen by anyone or just completely lost in the digital void. Think of it as the hidden foundation that's holding up everything you're trying to build online.
So here's a question I bet you've asked yourself. You spend hours, maybe even days, creating what you know is amazing content. You finally hit publish, and then nothing. Just crickets. It is one of the most frustrating feelings ever, right? So what is going on? Is the content not actually as good as you thought? Or is there something else at play?
Well, the answer is almost always hidden, tucked away where you can't see it. The best way to think about it is like this. Your website is a house. All your amazing content, that's the beautiful interior design. But if the foundation is cracked, if the plumbing is a mess, and the address isn't even on the map, nobody's ever going to see the incredible work you've done inside. And that, right there, is exactly what technical SEO is all about. It's the whole process of making sure your website's infrastructure, the very foundation and framework of your house, is solid, secure, and super easy for search engines to get in and look around. It's not really about keywords, it's about the architecture itself.
This really breaks it down perfectly. Over on the left, you've got your on-page SEO. That's all the stuff we see and think about. The content, the keywords, the decor of the house. But on the right, that's technical SEO. It's the unglamorous but absolutely essential stuff. The foundation, the blueprint, the wiring, all the things that make the house actually function.
So let's put on our virtual hard hats for a second and go inspect this unseen foundation. How do search engines like Google actually find and make sense of your website to begin with?
It really boils down to three main steps. First, these little bots crawl the internet, following trillions of links to discover all your pages. Next, they index that content. Basically, they analyze it and store it in a gigantic library. And finally, they render the page, which means they try to see it just like you or I would. If there's a roadblock at any one of these steps, you're basically invisible.
And what's cool is we have a ton of control over this process. Let's stick with the house analogy. Your robots.txt file, that's like putting up keep out signs for certain areas. Your XML sitemap is the official blueprint you hand over, showing every single room. Your internal links are the hallways that connect all those rooms together. And canonical tags, they're like the master key, telling search engines which room is the original when you have duplicates.
Okay, so we've given the search engines the blueprint and the keys. The next big question is, what's it like once they get inside? Is the house a breeze to walk through, or is it a slow, frustrating maze? This is where speed and usability become everything. Google actually measures this experience with a specific set of metrics they call Core Web Vitals. They look at stuff like load-in speed, how fast does the main thing pop up, interactivity, how quickly can someone click something, and visual stability. Does the page jump all over the place as it loads? And make no mistake, these aren't just polite suggestions. They are direct ranking factors.
So what's the number one thing slowing our sites down? Well, just look at this chart. It's almost always images. Over half, 55% of a typical page's total weight comes from images. Seriously, just optimizing your images is one of the quickest wins you can get for your site speed.
And here is the real kicker. This whole experience, it's now judged almost exclusively on your mobile site. Since way back in 2021, Google only looks at the mobile version of your website to decide how to rank you. Your desktop site could be the fastest, most beautiful thing in the world, but if your mobile site is clunky, your rankings are going to tank. Mobile isn't just an option anymore, it's the whole game.
Now, beyond just being fast, a well-built house needs reliable utilities, right? It needs to be safe and it needs to be functional. So for our websites, that means we're talking about security and clear communication. We need to make our site a place that both people and search engines can actually trust. Let's start with security. That little lock icon you see in your browser, that's from HTTPS, and it is completely non-negotiable today. It protects your visitors' data, it builds trust, and yeah, it's been a confirmed Google ranking factor for years now. Without it, you get that scary, not secure warning. Nobody wants that.
Next up, let's talk about being smart. This is where something called structured data or schema comes in. Think of it like putting really clear labels on everything in your house for the search engine. You're not just saying, hey, this is a page. You're saying, this is a recipe, and here are the ingredients, or this is a product, and here's the price. This gives Google so much more context.
So why should you care? Because doing this can turn your boring old search result into what's called a rich result. You know, the ones with star ratings or FAQ dropdowns or little product images right there in the search page. Just getting that extra real estate can boost the number of people who click on your link by 30, even 40%. It's huge.
So let's pull all these threads together. We've inspected the foundation, we've checked the user experience, we've turned on the utilities. We now know our site needs to be easy to access, fast, safe, and smart. So what does that actually look like in the real world? What's the impact?
This right here is the main takeaway. A solid technical foundation doesn't just rank a site by itself. What it does is act as a force multiplier. It's the bedrock that makes all your other hard work, your great content, your hard-earned backlinks, so much more powerful. It lets everything else you do actually work.
And here's the proof. This number comes from a real e-commerce business. They went in, fixed their crawl issues, got their core web vitals into the green, and added that structured data we were just talking about. The result? A 156% increase in organic traffic. And get this, it happened in just 5 months, and they didn't create a single new piece of content. That is the power of a solid foundation.
So all of this really leads us to one final, pretty important question. You've spent all this time on your content, your design, your social media, but be honest, when was the last time you actually lifted up the floorboards and took a hard look at your website's technical foundation? Because the answer to that question might just be the key that unlocks your site's true potential.